Naysha Lopez, who got dragged on social media about her comments over drag kings. So over the weekend, I don't know if you're familiar, but there's a show that comes on at, Roscoe's Tavern out in Chicago hosts a weekly viewing party, with Naysha Lopez, Caramel DeVille, and Batty Davis. Sidebar, is Caramel, I wonder if this is the same Caramel that's in that new Tubi movie that's coming out called Slay. Slay, I don't know if y'all heard about it, but I'm excited to see it. It's got Trinity Tuck in it, Caramel, or is it a different Caramel? That's why I gotta look and compare. Heidi and Closet's in it, and some other people. But anyway, it's like a cross. It's a horror film. It's like a cross between, which is hence the name Slay, which could be Slay as a slay or a slay. Gay gay slang. I'm gonna say slang term, gay slang, and slay as in like slayer vampires. So it's a cross between Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and From Dusk Till Dawn. And I was like, that is genius. Why didn't I think of that? Now the execution will be something else, but I'm actually looking forward to it. It looks like a campy, fun horror movie. I'm excited to see it. So I wonder if that's the same Caramel that's in it. But anyway, so one of the shows that I do watch is Roscoe's Tavern because Naysha Lopez, like I said, Caramel and Batty Davis. I love me some Batty Davis. They co-host and they bring on drag race girls or old and new on the show, and they basically it's a watch party, and then in between commercials they ask questions to the queens based off of what they've seen in the episode, and they ask just regular questions, whatever. Then the audience asks questions, so on and so forth. So it's a really good show if you have not checked it out on YouTube. But Nature found herself in hot water when a question was asked from the audience. What does she think about seeing, what was it? Oh, it said, would you love to see something different happen with casting? And she also had Brooklyn Heights, who was a season 11 runner up and a host of Canada's Drag Race. And then she had Marlene de Verga on there, who was a season 4 contestant from Canada's Drag Race. And so they were talking about what changes they would like to see on the show. And they were talking about they would like to see drag kings on Drag Race. This is what Brooklyn said. But I do have the clip. Shout out to Twitter. And I'm going to play that clip, and then we'll come back with the show. Because I thought about reading it. I was like, I want y'all to see it. And then we'll come back as a class, and then I'll give my overall thoughts.
So, with casting, would you love to see something different happen with casting?
Yeah, I think diversity is the name of the game, and nothing can go like. I think as much diversity as we can possibly get, the better. I would love to see a drag king on there. Why not?
I think I would love to see that. However, it's like it's like I feel the way I feel about Shakira and J Lo doing the Super Bowl. I think they both needed their own gig. I think drag kings, their art form is very, believe it or not, it is different. It's a different take. It's a different person that does drag king, and I think we need to focus on that and not just throw them into drag race like one of you know what I mean. I
Yeah,
feel like
I hear that. We've had other competitions that have featured drag kings and drag queens in the same
yeah.
competition, where drag queens have ended up winning or making the finals. What do you think would be different with this circumstance?
I just don't I don't what did you say at the end? Where drag queen wins always, probably not always, but predominantly. I feel like the drag queens will always get favored. I think drag kings need their own gig. I think they they're so good at what they do. Why do you have to put them in this one? Why can't we give them like their own drag king thing? The challenges are different. They're presenting as male, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time. So I think it's a little bit different.
Still drag.
Yeah.
They better be
No.
setting. They're gonna be setting up like my island and stuff for the mini challenge, bitch. Maintenance. I think it would be a refreshing take with the drag that we will see in the comedy and how it'll be approached.
Yeah.
And they deserve a platform like Drag Race.
That's
It's
what I'm
such a
saying.
huge
Like, they
platform.
But there has to be their own because it on the competition level of judging a king and a queen, especially like in the pageant world, it is very different. You don't judge them on the same exact things. So that's why it's. I think that's why it's been hard for them.
What's different? They're both doing drag.
They are, but I think it's
fantasy.
They're both doing drag. You're right. They are both doing drag. However, if you're presenting as masculine and someone is presenting as feminine drag, right? the when you elaborate on something and
Okay, so that was pretty much because they only allow a certain amount with the video. But to conclude with that, what she was getting at when they were saying like they're doing drag and they were trying to bring up different aspects. So if you get a certain challenge, like a Madonna challenge or a Prince challenge, then it's like, oh, they have to switch up their thing because they're doing drag king drag. To which Caramel brought up Madonna does do masculine drag and a lot of stuff, which she does because remember, if you've seen her Blonde Ambition tour when she came out with the suit and then she had the bandana wrapped up on her head and all this that sort of thing. Madonna has done masculine drag, even down from that era, and then she also, throughout her career, she's always done masculine looks. Same thing with Prince. Prince is considered androgynous in a lot of his looks, so therefore it can be done. Here's the thing, and they were getting at um other drag shows. They're getting at Dragula because Dragula does allow drag kings on their show. Even Land Insider, we're going to talk about them in a minute, but also they had last season they had two drag kings on, and one of them made it to the finale of Dragula. But and I totally get what Naysha was saying, and I'm not actually necessarily bothered by it. Now here's the thing: I would love uh individual show where it's just drag kings so that they could just focus on their own thing. And I think people need to stop being so angry and wanting to just go at people for having a difference of opinion. I think what the real rub is and that people need to get at, Drag Race is like the biggest platform that drag queens get to be on. It changes a lot of people's lives. You make a whole lot of money from doing the show. The clubs and stuff really will put Drag Race girls ahead of the local queens. So you do definitely the platform, the opportunity, all the other stuff. You make so much money. You get to be you get so many successful opportunities and stuff from doing Drag Race. I get that part. My thing is, and I've been saying this so many times, we need more shows on TV that shows different aspects of drag. Drag Race should not be the only pinnacle point of drag. It should not be the only representation of drag because Rue's all about, oh, drag is not to be taken too seriously. We're all born naked. The rest is drag. You know his little lines and his little isms that he says. Dragula gives a different point of view. They go more alternative drag. So, like, the Evie Oddlies, the Sharon Needles, that sort of look that plays more or less over on Dragula. And I love Dragula because it's like these girls are, the queens are out there designing their own looks, good, better, and different. And they create what they create out of what they create. And I love the aspect of, even though, yes, it is similar to Drag Race in the aesthetic and style and the stage designs and all other stuff. I love what the Boulay brothers, whether personalities aside, because I've heard some things about them, but I like what they're doing over there with their show. So why can't we have these other? And then Naysha Lopez brought up they got a show that's coming out of based off of all the Continentals and stuff that have competed that they're going to be doing a drag show with that. So yes, I do agree that we need a variety of different drag shows out there that show different sides of the art of drag. A friend of mine was telling me that he had an idea for a drag show and was trying to get it up and running. Shout out to Jade Electra. And then there was some shit where World of Wonder put some stunts. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But for the most part, I feel like in the meantime, we can welcome drag kings to the show. You can make the challenges work in their favor. We've seen drag queens come on and dress like men. Milk has done it, where they were clocking his look. Not necessarily the judges, but at times I feel like they did. The queens in the room were. Then we've had who else has done? Milan has done male drag when he came out as Janelle Monáe at one point with his look. People got upset over that. So man drag has been done on Drag Race. People seem to forget. So if Milk and Milan, the two I can think of off the top of my head, could do it, then why not bring on drag kings? I'd be here for it. I like some of the drag king, aesthetic, or if they could find a way to apply what the drag race aesthetic is, and drag race could use a bit of a shakeup with their challenges and that sort of thing. Why not invite a drag king in the room? It wasn't that long ago where they was up in here trying to say that we can't have trans women on. When I don't know why. First of all, trans women have always been the forefront of drag. I remember when I was coming up in my first drag show, in addition to Harmonica Sunbeam, shout out to her, being my first ever drag queen that I saw when I used to go to Esquilita back in the day, man, heck, club, rest in peace. That club was everything because that's where I got my first taste of ballroom culture. That was where I got my whole first taste of so many different things that were pertaining to the Black and Latino queer community, and seeing a lot of the ballroom queens and all other stuff in there. That's where I got my life. Never walked a ball, but I know a lot of ball girls. So shout out to y'all. But I was too scared to back in the day. But when it comes to a lot of the stuff, like first ever trans drag queen that I ever saw was a woman by the name of Karen Covergirl. Like she was the first ever trans drag queen that I saw that would perform, had big boobs and fierce body yada yada and the gowns and the hair and all this. So that was the first, there was so many trans women that I had seen in those. So I don't understand why that was ever a thing that RuPaul was saying what he was saying back in the day. So they also said, I understand Naysha's point and agree drag kings should have their own platform as well. However, drag kings can fit femme runway themes, the challenges, and to be honest, are more successful than a lot of the queens. I should also point out that they've had drag kings perform on the international drag race shows. So if they could do that there, why can't we do that in America? It just seems like they'll take more of a risk with the European spinoffs than they will here. I think that also some drag kings went and came out, but it said Dracula season 3 winner Land Insider shared a video wearing a book drag king's shirt and doing a bit about explaining that he's a drag king, not a drag queen. We've been there. Landon says, I know you haven't seen us on that assumed to be drag race yet. And I've heard of Land. I knew of Land Insider long before they, were on Drag Race. Shea Coulee wrote, should they drink out of separate water fountains too? Oh, shout out to Shea Coulee. I live for her. Tenderoni wrote, oh yeah, I know who Tenderoni is. Tenderoni wrote, Melinda Verga would be me if I was in the middle of this conversation too. If y'all seen the video, y'all know what her face looked like. Bible Girl wrote, Nature has to have a kink for just saying the weirdest, most Victorian ever perspective shit. Joey J wrote, remember, what was her line? My name is Joey J and I'm gay as F or something or another, what that line was when they were on the season of Drag Race. So Joey J wrote, Drag King should 100% emoji be on a platform like Drag Race. Who are your favorites? Mashed potato, chat. Bro, hey Nature Lopez, if you free Thursday, would you like to come to the All Kings Survivor with me, which is all drag kings in a fantasy nightclub and at Fantasy Nightclub this Thursday? Oh, where's that at? I want to go to a drag king show. I haven't been to one. I've always been curious to see like what their whole world and stuff is like. So I would love to go to a drag king show. If y'all know some good, I may have to look that up. Do they have drag king shows in New York? I be hearing so much about drag queens, but I don't know a lot about drag kings. But anyway, to wrap all this up, it said Glittery Trash Cat wrote, Chicago's starting drag king discourse, and we have such a large pool of king/things coming up, and slaying the scene is the most Chicago thing I've heard this week. Tell me you haven't been paying attention to local drag without telling me you pay zero attention to local. Well, look, quiet as it's kept, Naysha Lopez don't even live in Chicago. She live in LA. She fly out to Chicago to get that check for doing the show that she does. Love Amy Stool. Child, anyway, support drag kings competing against queens or just performing and existing. So it goes on and on and on. Shout out to Out Magazine for doing this article and having me be able to shape my brain in this whole situation in regards to talking about this. But like I said, to wrap this up, I don't mind drag kings. I would actually like to, at first I was like, yeah, maybe they do need their own show. But I would really be curious to see how drag kings would fit in the whole drag race platform. Like they said, we've seen they didn't start out doing drag kings on Dragula, but they wound up finding a way to make them fit within the challenges. And I feel like Drag Race could do that. Y'all could bring some drag kings on and see how they fit within the spectrum. If they could do it on the European spinoffs, y'all could do it in the American one as well. So y'all need to get it, let's diversify. Let's shake the table. Let's try different things. And here's what I always say. If Drag Race is not going to build the space for drag kings to appear, on Drag Race, I always say if you build it, they will come. So if there's somebody out there that wants to make the opportunity to build the show, build it. And I'll put my hat in the ring. I'll help. I'll throw some money behind it. I'll produce it. I'll even be a judge. I don't want to host it. I'll be the judge. I'll be the Ross Matthews of the. Well, I'd rather be Ross Matthews because I can come with some puns. Or maybe I'll be the Santino and I'll sit on the panel and I'll judge because I love drag. And just because, and I always feel this, maybe go back to the whole Michelle Visage thing. Just because you don't do drag doesn't necessarily mean you don't appreciate the art of drag or love drag queens and drag culture. Because I grew up in drag culture, so and long before there was a drag race, I was going to drag shows. So there you have it.